we have a lot of work to do. Okay, we're very fortunate to have won the game against Memphis. All right, we are obviously always trying to finish with one more point than our teammate, than our opponents. But in reviewing the video, okay, we're a long ways away from being a finished product. But the guys, they embraced the video, they embraced practice. On yesterday, we had a pretty hard practice, and hopefully we'll get some better carryover into today's practice. But we have a lot of work to do. But I'm happy that we were able to survive, especially after a lackluster first half. And we were able to make a little bit of a run in the second half. The entire team contributed to that win, and but we still have some areas that we have to clean up.
Do you have an update on Riley and Armand and your injured guys and their status for this game?
Yeah, so Riley's making some progress. He's going to start practicing hopefully later on this week, and we'll see what his availability is either in Brooklyn or the game prior to Brooklyn. But he's making some progress. He's moving around. He's involved in a small portion of, or will be involved in a small portion of the non-contact part of our practice today. And then we'll see how he progresses and recovers for Wednesday and Thursday's practices. But he's ahead of schedule. We like where he is. Armand is not healing at the same rate, so he'll continue to be out, and we'll have another update on him next week.
Dante had the big game on Friday, and it was Daniel last Monday who had the big game. What's it like having those two compete against each other, and how important is the post play for this team this year?
Well, the first thing is we need them to compete together on the court without one of them getting in serious foul trouble. But yeah, they push each other in practice along with Galen and Alex Reese. That's four big guys that we think we can count on. But Dante looked a little bit more like a mature player because the rest of the guys that we played were either four freshmen. I still consider AJ Jr. a sophomore, whatever his mom or the media says. He's a sophomore, even though he's going to graduate next year because he didn't play that much in his first year. And at another SEC school, Dejon Ingram is a sophomore. So, Dante was like our most experienced guy out there on the floor. And, he had a big game for us. Those 6 blocks were huge. We needed every one of them.
Alex Reese, we haven't talked about a lot, but he's got great skill level. I thought he played quality minutes. Was that the design, or was that because of Daniel's foul trouble, and he played probably more than you expected?
Yeah, a little bit more, but you're right, Scott. He's very skilled. You're talking about a kid that's 6'9". I got an update on his weight today. He's probably 252 today. Now, sometime that can fluctuate. But the kid moved well in the game. He's a threat, obviously, from behind the three-point line. I like to see him post up a little bit more because he has a really nice post-up game. But, he's got great hands. He can pass. Some of those outlet passes were like some of the passes Kevin Love makes, at the next level. So he's going to continue to get better. He was a major part of that freshman class. And obviously he doesn't get as much attention as some of the other guys, but he's important to us.
Coach, will you have the same starting lineup, or do you have anybody who recently became eligible who might enter the starting lineup?
If I didn't respect you as much and you weren't such a veteran reporter, I would say next question. But I'm not going to do you that. So, yeah, Sexton will be in the lineup.
What do you anticipate from him this first game, kind of getting back out there and getting into the groove again with the rest of his teammates?
Well, I just think the main thing, Alex, is he can see by watching our first game that we have other guys on the team that can play. And we don't want anybody to feel like there's an enormous amount of pressure to be a one-man band and, quote-unquote, lead us to victory. It's a team game, and he knows a lot of the things that we've been preaching about finishing plays and fundamentals and taking care of the basketball and having a longer attention span to detail and focus on every play. that applies to everybody on the team across the board. But specific to him, we don't need a 40 or 50-point performance tomorrow to lead us to victory. We have a team, and he has a role within that team, and we want him to just be himself, but at the same time be excited. He's playing in his first regular season home game. In first college basketball, true college basketball game. So we want him to be excited, but we don't need anybody on our team to think they have to, have this outer world experience to help lead us to victory every time we play a game. We think we've put together a really good team. Now, we're not functioning at a high level on every possession as a team, and those are some of the early season growing pains that's to be expected.
You guys signed 3 players, all from the South. Your roster, I think, has 12 of 14 players from the SEC region. Is that important to you to get players from this territory and kind of build a roster around those players?
Well, Ryan, I think it's got to be the right players that fit what you're trying to do, and we have a vision in terms of where we wanted to be here in year 3, but also years 4 and 5. And I think those players that are in our footprint that we think can have the right type of competitive spirit and function on our campus in terms of their academics, and kids that can recover from adversity and represent us well in the community and play well, hopefully at home and on the road, and hopefully one of these days, if we're fortunate to play in a tournament, we want those kids that are in our footprint to be a part of our program. But we played exhibition games in Canada for a reason. So we think at some point our tentacles are going to spread more than our footprint, and we're prepared to do that. But all 3 of those kids, Jared Butler and Fleming and Deontay Wood, those kids were important to us. We've built relationships with them for quite a long time, and we were fortunate to be in position that we got our names called.
Avery, when you watched the first half against Memphis, obviously you get whistled for 20 fouls. How much of that was just kind of schematic defensive miscues? How much of that was just the way the game was being called? And what's your message to your team after, committing that many fouls in a half?
Well, that was a poorly coached team. It looked like we had never gone through a defensive drill in our life, okay? So, again, we have to do a better job at fundamentals, teaching it, getting in the stance, having a stronger accountability model, because that type of defense does not travel well. It's not going to work at home against anybody on our schedule this year. We were out of position, not enough communication. We weren't alert. We didn't get enough loose balls. We didn't understand the scouting report. When we pass out these scouting reports and we go over all of these players, it's for a reason. It's not just to have, the copy machine producing papers, okay? But a lot of our young guys have never been through this type of discipline before, and I think as time wears on, they're going to appreciate the preparation and all of the things that we talk about in practice. It really matters.
How much confidence did it give you in y'all's depth that you were able to beat a program like the Tigers with 4 players missing? Yeah,
again, that's one of the things we talked about. We think we have quality depth, but we have to be better in terms of not having as many wasted possessions on offense. At the end of the game, we look like, the Bad News Bears, throwing the ball all around the floor, right? We didn't look good at all, and we didn't finish the game well with some of our turnovers and lack of transition defense. But all of those moments are great teachable moments. Our guys are coachable, and there are different voices, okay, that I have in practice. Sometimes I have my teaching voice, my loving voice, my disappointing voice, my intense voice, my mentoring voice, coaching voice. It's a lot of different voices, and they accept me, and they accept our staff when we're a little animated or when we calm. It doesn't matter, because these kids are made of the right stuff. They just need more experience and more time, and so we can look like a real, one-day elite college basketball team. And there were a lot of minutes in this first game where we didn't look like that. And but they'll embrace it, and we'll get better from it and learn from it.
In that first game, Dazon carried you guys offensively in that first half and was aggressive throughout. You talk to him about being more aggressive, or you just kind of let him do his own thing?
We talk about it because there are times, especially in his pre-sophomore year, where he wasn't aggressive. He needs to be more aggressive, but also willing to change speeds. We talk to Dejon a lot about changing speeds and changing gears. Such a big, strong, powerful guy when he gets downhill going to the basket. But the great thing I like about him is he's willing to take open three-point shots now, and he takes them with confidence. I was proud of him, getting to the free throw line as much as he got to the free throw line. And sure, all of them didn't go in, but he didn't get discouraged about a miss, maybe like he did in his freshman year. I think that's a sign of maturity. So he was 11 for 15 from the line, and we needed all 11 of those free throws. And I think we can constantly talk to him about stay aggressive. We like when you're aggressive. We don't want you to be passive, and he's embraced that role. Okay, thanks.